I think I consume more media than the average person. And there has been something that's been bothering me for 5 years now. Ever since I was a kid, I realized that the protagonists of shows, movies, games, even comics typically have something in common. It's how heroic the protagonists are. From your Midoriyas to your Kiritos, we have too many righteous main characters. Too many characters who are noble, honorable, and above cheating and fighting. Sure, these characters are often there to inspire the viewer to become better. That these characters can teach us to become better people. However, sometimes the noble people are too much of a Boy Scout. And often their flaws aren't flaws that we can typically identify with. Yes, they're fun to root for at first, but often we stop rooting for them. Not because we know what they're doing isn't noble or isn't the right thing to do, but because we know that they're gonna win in the end, because that's what heroes do. They typically win because they have the power of love, or friendship, or teamwork, or some crap that means they win. Yes, many shows have stopped this type, but a lot of shows have just kind of replaced it with the bright-eyed hero, who's inexperienced but wants to do good in the world. Yes, this character is often more relatable, because we too are inexperienced in this world, but these protagonists can get boring too. There is a protagonist that you don't see often, however. The jerk. Someone who's rude and scummy. Because these characters are harder to relate to if you build them wrong. However, if they're built correctly, then they can be the most relatable characters, the most engaging protagonists. One character that I'm thinking of is the MCU's Tony Stark. And another one that I'm just thinking of now is Emperor's New Groove's Cusco. These two characters are pretty terrible to begin with. But I'm not going to talk about those two. I want to talk about Hardcore Leveling Warrior's protagonist, the Hardcore Leveling Warrior. Or his actual name, Ethan. You see, at the beginning of the series, Ethan Gong is the #1 ranked player. You may think he got this by being honorably, through questing and being a hero. No, definitely not. You see, Ethan is probably the scummiest player in all of Lucid Adventure. That's actually how he became the #1 ranked player. He would make bets with other players due to his skill. Bet. This skill lets him take things that normally can't be taken, like items bound to the player, skills, and even stats. He's a liar, he's a manipulator, and he's scummy. But that's why he got his rank. It makes sense. Of course the #1 rank got his skills and stats all the way this way. There's no way that the power of love and friendship would help you max out all your stats. That's just not how the game works. And that's my favorite part about Ethan. He knows how to play the game. He was the #1 ranked, so he knows strategies and ideas most players don't. He thinks differently, which makes him stronger. Experience is the strongest thing about a player. Not EXP, but how much time and effort goes into a game. Their knowledge of the game. That's why Ethan is such a skilled player, because he's knowledgeable. Often in media, they have the whole power of this emotion. It's often the only reason someone seemingly wins. Fairy Tail is a very bad abuser of this. I fight for my friends garbage? Yeah. But in Hardcore Leveling Warrior, it never feels like the victory was because of friendship or love. The victory was never some dumb reason or excuse to make the protagonist win. Yes, they do tend to win the more important battles, but their victories always seem to earn. If not because they're stronger, then because they're smarter, because they fight better, because they use their skills better, because they work better as a team, because some reason that makes sense. Unlike the garbage that's, hey, we're a family, so we're gonna win. Like I said before, he's kind of a terrible person. He lies, he steals, he bribes, he's basically a douchebag. But I love these traits of him. It's the best part of Ethan, because it makes him more human. Have you ever watched SAO Abridged? Do you know why people like it more than normal SAO? Because the characters feel more human. Because they act and behave in ways that make sense. Of course, most of the people are terrible human beings. Not everyone can be Mr. Goody Two-Shoes.
Kid, no language on Earth has a word for how little I care.
It's more interesting to see a morally bad character turn less morally bad than a morally good character become a better morally good character. Flaws in a character are everything. The better a person is, the more difficult it is to relate to someone. Because, hey, this character has flaws, sure, but they're morally upstanding, so we can look over these flaws because that's what makes us human. That's garbage. What makes us human isn't an excuse for someone to have flaws and not touch them. What makes us human is how terrible we are, but how we become better people. Ethan is human. Because at the beginning and even at the end, he's still a terrible person. But what makes him more human is how he grows and develops. Ethan goes from killing a level 3 newbie because he asked for some gold, to protecting his team when Light tries to nightmare blast him away. From someone who would just kill for the fun of it, to someone who would fight the second in command because they humiliated Dark. Hardcore leveling warrior, like Heartheater states, was a moron. A moron who does whatever it takes to get stronger. Who does whatever it takes to get what he wants. Someone who can't be trusted because destruction is all that waits at the end of his path. Hardcore leveling warrior is a bad person, but I love that, because in some sense, we're all bad people. He's the most relatable character because he's such a bad person. He's often the embodiment of our worst thoughts, feelings, or ideas, but that's why I love him. Because he becomes a better person, giving us all that idea that we too might become better people. I admire bad people who become less bad, because it's often more inspiring. Here's this douchebag that once brought death and destruction everywhere, someone who was so bad on the inside that they hated everyone and they were hated by everyone. And now look at him. He has fans and friends. And if we're being honest, this scene reminds me of...
Get back, you savages!
Sorry. He's just not used to positive feedback.
And it's not hard to make the parallel, because both of these characters have wronged many people. However, they're slowly starting to redeem themselves. Ethan Gong has had quite a difficult life. His parents died in a car crash, leaving him an orphan. He was bullied for being one. He dropped out of school and became a cashier, later getting into tremendous debt, and is offered a choice, either to sell gum on the corner or try to earn his money back in Lucid Adventure, which seemed like the better option here. Anyways, when playing this game, he feels invincible. He feels like the virtual world is paying for all the mistakes and problems he's had in the past. He's become the strongest. He was the luckiest. He was the best. And also, he felt like he was part of a family. We get to know how he knows Master Swordsman. They're all once part of the same guild, alongside BB and Tempest. They were led by Arms, and if you watched my Some Mysteries of Hardcore Leveling Warrior, then you know where this is going. For once in his life, Ethan felt like he belonged. He could joke around, he could have fun, he could be happy. Sometimes we all feel like that. Sometimes we all feel like we don't fit in, like the world has cast us aside, beat us down. This is such an important aspect of Ethan's character, the feeling of being alone in the world. This is why Ethan is such a jerk, why he's so aggressive and rude to others, because the world was terrible to him. He's put up walls because the one time he did have a family, the one time he did love and have fun, it was violently ripped from him. The one time he did care about others, they left and she died. If you didn't know, Arms is later taken hostage and dies because of a disease that we don't really have a lot of context to. All we know it was because of some very experimental beta testing. It was obvious that Ethan had very strong feelings towards Arms. And Master Swordsman says that Ethan likes her in one of the AEs. This is probably romantic feelings, which adds to his character. Someone we thought was so tough and strong was in love, and that love left him. That's why he looks like this when he sees No Name uses Arms skills. He's showing emotion that he probably hasn't felt in a long time. He's reminded of the love and care that he had towards this person. This is definitely a moment of weakness for this character. The facade of a cool and strong character was broken just for a second because he thought someone that he loved wasn't dead. Ethan represents the worst of all of us. The ones that are cold, the ones that are arrogant, the ones that are aggressive, the ones that are impatient, the ones who are just kind of terrible people. Why? Why is this representation good? Why does it work? It's simple. Because showing the worst become better shows that there's hope for all of us. If this douchebag can become a better person, then why can't you? If Ethan, the old number 1 ranked player, the one who killed because someone asked for money, the one who would stop people from doing quests because he was bored, the one that's just an awful person, if that person can go from that to someone who encourages his friends, someone who cares if his friends get exposed to Nightmare, someone who goes back into the game even if it means he might die, but he needs to help his friend win the tournament to see his grandpa one more time, then who's to say you don't deserve a second chance? Who's to say that you're unredeemable? Ethan is a scummy person. That's not something that's going to go away. He's still scummy, he's still rude, he's still arrogant, he's still kind of a jerk. But like Heart Heater says after calling him a moron, well, the reason I show this to you now is because I only consider you half a moron. So, still a moron. Ethan was a moron, but now he's really only half a moron. Still a moron, but someone who became a better person. Still not great, but better. And if we're be honest, I want more characters like these. Now, before I end it, I'm gonna do something I just thought of. You all know the Dnd Alignment Chart? If you don't, it's really simple to understand. It's a 3x3 table with lawful, neutral, and chaotic going across the top, and good, neutral, evil going across the side. The top part represents the person's views on rules, authority, and people above them. And the side represents the person's morality. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. But I'm gonna make 7 more videos on 7 other characters and fill this chart up. The entire video is evidence and thoughts of why I placed them in a certain spot. Ethan, the hardcore leveling warrior, is rude and kind of a jerk, but willing to care. If it was old Ethan, I would have thought of putting him in the evil section. However, by the end of chapter 1, Ethan is more of neutral because of his teammates. He definitely doesn't care about authority, so he's going in chaotic neutral. Now, I already did who Lawful Good is, and if you haven't seen a True Hero video, then spoilers, I guess? Anyways, I don't think anyone will disagree with me when I put Sora in Lawful Good. She cares about authority and is respectful to people. And she's a good person, so she goes up for there. Anyways, I'm very excited where they take Ethan. If they take Ethan somewhere at all, because he might be dead. We're not entirely sure. And comment if you like this type of video. I still want to do hardcore leveling warrior videos, but I need more of chapter 2 before I make any videos like this. And if you're really interested in hardcore leveling warrior, then check the description. I'll leave a link filled with people talking about hardcore leveling warrior. And hey, I just made a social media. It's an Instagram. It's down in the description too. I'm probably not going to use it too much. It might be for updates and polls, but I'm mainly going to use it for hardcore leveling warrior memes and webtoons memes in general. Anyways, like always, thank you for watching.